You can stand in the middle if you like.
Well, I don't want to be blocking.
Okay. I'm Damien Mastelo.
I'm Austin Galati.
I'm Chris Sealy.
Whoa. Okay. So we're working on a project that we came up with our own called the Collegiate. It's an Android application that is basically a college scheduling and planning application, and we are going to have assignment tracking, exam tracking, classes and courses, modifiable notifications so that it reminds you when you have to do your homework, when your exam is, when you have classes so that you don't miss.
We pretty much got to college here, and we realized that since our schedule is different, we're different from day to day, we needed some way to manage all of that. And we found that there was a lot of different apps that did the job really well, everything really well. So like, for example, Google Calendar is a great calendar application, but it won't track your assignments, your tests, your grades, stuff like that. And then there's other applications that are more focused on tracking college, but they really aren't that good.
So basically the end goal is to create an application that brings all of these features that we want in a college scheduling app and put it all together into one package so that you don't have to manage multiple different applications or deal with paper schedules anymore, and have everything on the convenience of your phone.
So pretty much features that we've discussed would pretty much be upcoming events and things of that nature. As the more involved you get in school, you're going to have tons of events, and it can be difficult to remember all the dates without some sort of planner. These would be things like classes, times, tests, which would give you reminders of some sort when to study, and assignments and when they're due. Another big feature that we wanted to focus on was making an application that was easy to use. There were some applications that we looked up that were really just a pain to use, and they didn't facilitate the process at all. We want to fix that. Part of this would be using logic to determine like common due dates for assignments, as in next class, to speed things up when you're recording assignments. Another feature would be to keep track of grades. I noticed recently that there isn't one location here at RPI that helps you keep track of all of your grades, at least not one that teachers update regularly. So this would be something where you can enter in the percentages on a syllabus and just sort of report grades as you get them back, and it would be able to give you live feedback on how you're doing in a class. Lastly, we would try and integrate with Google Calendar, the API there, to give you a better base of using the application.
So for current progress that we have done so far, which we've done on our own as well as at the hackathon, which was a pretty awesome event. Thank you to everyone who came and started that. Yeah. So basically we have the underlying class design, and we have our crucial core classes implemented. You have an interface for displaying the output of the calendar as well as adding courses and classes. So on Android, if you guys use iPhone, you don't know how to use Android, there's a menu button, so press the menu button, press add course, and it brings you up a little interface. Go to the next slide, so a screenshot. This is still a work in progress. That calendar is not going to look like that.
This is not done, this is pretty much done.
Yeah, so you just put in 3 things. You put in your course code, class name, and teacher, professor, and then you put in the class time, start time, end time, and location. And once you do that, it outputs it in a calendar format on the days and times that you input.
We're basically going for like a pure Android experience here. We're not trying to redesign the interfaces, because we found that the apps available out in the market tried to do their own fancy interfaces, and they just looked terrible, and it just wasn't easy to use, and it didn't make sense. So we're going to try and keep to the Android design standards as much as possible.
So you can check out our progress on codequarry.net or on github.com/codequarry/thecollegiate. And thank you to ARCOS Director, Professor Krishnamurthy, ARCOS mentors and members, as well as Shauna Sullivan. So do you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, etc.?
Right here.
Me?
Yeah, yeah.
So I like that you're trying to stick with the native UI elements that Android offers. I find that a lot of times people do try to reinvent the wheel. So I like that you're doing that. But in regards to all the features you want to implement, it seems like you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
Do you think you can, like I said, not reinvent the wheel, but take from other projects that are open source and try to fit that to your needs?
We could look into that.
Yeah.
We're doing it in sequential. So right now, what we're doing is we're just trying to get the calendar at course and classes. And since we have that done, now what we're going to try and do is, I mean, we do it all on Trello, which is like this kind of to-do list type deal, and we have everything organized chronologically as to what we want to do. So it's definitely, that's a good suggestion to look into seeing if there's already some open source things available.
We're pretty much looking at like each different part individually, and then we're going to group them all together. So right now we're working on the calendar. So I'm not sure if we're going to do Google Calendar integration and all that stuff yet, but like once we move on to the other parts, we're going to look into like what's available and see what the best way to handle each individual one is.
I guess that leads very nicely to my next question, which is there's a lot of different parts. It seems like a very anti-Unix approach, which is to make small programs that work really well and then fuse them together. So what made you choose this approach as opposed to making a separate application for each of the functions? So that
because for a regular user, I guess, opening 10 different applications, which is what we found. For example, one application wouldn't have a homework and exam tracker. It would just have the courses. And if you wanted to have homework and exams, you'd have to either go to Google Calendar and then put them there, or download a different exam homework tracker application. So it's just a little bit. I mean, when you want to use the phone, you don't want to be frustrated. You just want to get it over with. You want to put it in and be done with it. If you have one application, but like segmented into modules. Like we want to keep it clean. We want to have modules for it so that it's almost as if it's like 10 different applications.
But you get them all at once. That's we think that'll make it a lot easier for the user. I mean, we're not opposed to making separate applications at this point, but I guess our plan is to keep it all together.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions?
Like you mentioned, isn't the advantage of a bunch of small programs that each do one task, isn't that only an advantage if you can like chain them together with a script, which isn't something that's applicable on a portable device?
Well, actually, there are ways to like set intents and stuff like that.
Yeah, on Android, there's this thing called intent where you can open. Chris, move my mouse pad. There are ways to. There's this thing called intent. So let's say you want to take a picture, and you don't want to you don't want to make a camera. You don't want to code the camera and code the display and everything. You can just use the already existing Google camera, and it will swap to that application and then basically feed the image that you receive back into yours.
Okay.
So that is doable.
So it's possible it's just still more user-friendly to have it all integrated?
Well, in our opinion, I guess you could have a different opinion, but the way we feel is that we want all the updates to come on together. We don't want people having 6 or 7 different updates, and then maybe you update one part of our application, not the other part. It just gets confusing and stuff like that.
Yeah. My question is, since like for now everything is input by the manually by all the users, are you like considering a community that builds a database of those courses?
We actually did talk about it. So selecting a school and then having the database of all the classes put up. So if you know that your CRN, for example, is this and this, then you put it in, and all the times it automatically be put in. But that would be
Another way we would help to kind of speed that up, but not really avoid the manual input processes, to use logic, fuzzy logic, to kind of predict when a class would end. For example, standard 50-minute lecture, or when a homework assignment would be due, such as the next class or next week, something like that.
Yeah, so if the program notices that all of your lectures are either 50 minutes or an hour 50 minutes, like all the math classes are 50 minutes, let's say, then if you want to add another math class or another math course, it would automatically it would make the end time 50 minutes past the start time automatically, so you wouldn't have to manually put it in. So just a little bit more convenient.
Any other questions?
So does it handle all the classes with different start and end time per day?
Yeah, it's got we have two databases. We're using.
Is there a blog post on that?
Yeah, I think so. Because we're using SQLite. So we have two database tables. We have one for classes and one for courses. And so the course is like Calc 2, and then your classes are, Monday 2 to 2:50, Thursday 3 to 4, or 3 to 3:50. So, and the course has the identifying key that matches with the class.
So you can hit add class here and make as many as you want.
Yeah, so if you have 4 lectures for Calc 2, you would just put your first one, then do add class, and you do second one, and third, and fourth. And currently, with what we have so far, you can only do it once here. You can't edit it, but in time, we'll have an editing and delete as well for that.
And also maybe like different class types, like lecture, test block, recitation, etc.
And then those would be highlighted different colors on the calendar. That's for later.
I'm seeing a lot of really powerful potential for this because, like you were saying, you need different apps to do different things. Like versus when you have your class schedule, and then when you have your homework, and then when you have appointments, those are all different things. By consolidating them, because you can only be in one place at one time, it's all going to be right there. So, do you have any? Are you looking to do like some sort of dynamic scheduling tool where, like, if you have an assignment that you've input and you had say like I'm going to predict it's going to be an hour too long, it'll find a time before it's due for you to work on it and tell you you should work on it then.
So basically look for a gap in your schedule where you don't have anything going on, and then have the program automatically be like, okay, work at this time, and it will tell you when you should work.
Right, to help you sort of multitask and juggle your different assignments.
That's actually
that's something that we'd implement in the future. That is a really good idea.
Yeah, that would be
It'd be really useful.
Yeah, it would be definitely for sure for
Well, relevant to that, you could talk to Rachel Redner. She's working on a project that helps you schedule when to do your assignments and stop procrastinating.
Is she here right now? Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind.
The one last question. Are you guys targeting only Android 4 and up? Because Android 2 still commands a large...
Yeah. We thought about it because Android 2.3 is still like over 53%. And Android 4.0 is what, 15 or 20 by the last count.
Right now we're using a lot of stuff that I think is API level 14 and higher, so that's like down to like a couple percent of all Android users. But that's one of the things that we're going to work on. I'm not sure how low we're going to go.
2.3 when Gingerbread would probably be the lowest we would go. But right now, we do have some Android experience, but it's fairly limited. So we're just going to try and keep it like a narrow approach at first, and then once we have the features implemented, we can start working on doing some backwards compatibility. But yeah, that definitely was a concern because we're compiling under API 14, I think, right? So this obviously wouldn't work on a Gingerbread device.
What level are you doing for RPI mobile?
API 8.
So that's like 2.3 or 2.1.
2.1. Okay. But yeah, that was a concern. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.